Welcome back to Hope at Dawn, right here at Hope TV, where you look and you live. Time for the newspaper review. My name is George Gishuro.
And my name is Beatrice Nudi, and it's time for us to have a look at what is being reported. This morning, the top story here, I see a handshake. Well, that's what it is. Between Raila and Ruto, which is the picture that has been placed, as you can see, on the top page of the Daily Nation. And it's saying Ruto Raila deal faces litmus test. Nane Nane, President William Ruto's broad-based government, in which he has co-opted ODM leader Raila Odinga, faces its first test today as the youth plot a fresh round of demos in their continued push for governance reforms. The president has once again warned the protesters to shun violence, while the U.S. has waded into the matter. And this is a story on pages 2 and 3. And of course, we are seeing Dr. Abraham Korir Singoei saying part of the reason to regulate and firmly deal with violent protests is that the protesters do not internalize the cost of their actions. But then it's the question of who is being violent.
Yes, good question.
Who really is being violent? Is it the protesters, or is it the paid goons that are infiltrating to make it look like the protesters are violent?
Or up until the police lodged tear gas and water cannons on the protesters. So who triggers what?
Yes.
And you see, as you mentioned rightly, the infiltration of the peaceful demos by goons, not just goons, hired goons. Because if you remember, over the last few weeks, investigations have been going on, and politicians have been linked to the paid goons who had infiltrated the peaceful demos.
Yes.
So you see, so as you asked rightly, who is violent?
Who is violent?
But two, the good PS here is telling us about the losses and everything. Can he also tell us the amount of money we lose daily on corrupt deals, on corruption, that the protesters are actually highlighting? You know, because they are asking and agitating for good governance, for integrity, for transparency. How much money? I remember the former president was candid enough when he was saying that we lose 2 billion daily.
Oh my!
You see, so in as much as the good PS here wants to sound politically correct, it is also it's not fair. To the country also, because the amount of money we are losing on corruption, and this corruption is especially on those who are the elite people, the kickbacks that they are getting from some of these deals involving national infrastructure is on another level. You know, and so let us not be. I don't know what the term to use.
It's hypocrisy.
Thank you. It is hypocrisy.
It
you
really
just try because it's now creating discomfort within your circles. You now all of a sudden are reminding. Do you know how much the so-called private sector also is losing in terms of now the increase in taxes? How many companies are shutting down?
So many.
So many.
So many.
So let us stop this hypocrisy. If you are in a position of influence, if you're in a position of power, please stop this hypocrisy just because you occupy that office. It's a delegated authority that you have been given by the people of Kenya.
And it's really, really sad because, again, you find that some of them now, there were also allegations that they are being paid to support Ruto now. To go in the streets and be now on this other side.
And you see, Beatrice, that for me is living a lie.
It's living a lie.
Because it's just massaging your ego, yet really you know that people are actually tired. People are actually agitating they're agitated and they want the right things and the systems to work. So whether it's just postponing the inevitable.
And it's really bad
yeah.
because at the end of it all, one has to be the bigger person. You cannot be the bigger person by saying, wacha tuonyeshe kuna vile pia kona support. That is only stirring up more conflict. And some of these people even were being seen, watu wa bodaboda wakipewa tao. So it's becoming...
the kind of politics that they are still using is very archaic, to be honest.
And it's sad.
It's very sad.
Honestly, it's really sad.
The one thing I love about whatever is happening, the president during the campaigns, he used to say statements that I don't know if he remembers. I remember very well during the campaigns, he used to say, watu wajinga Kenya waliisha. If you remember. He also said, you can lie to some people sometime, but you cannot lie to all the people all the time. He also said that.
People are eating their own words, digesting them.
So now, sijui kwa nini anadhani, after he assumed office, that wale alikuwa amesema wameisha, wamerudi.
Oh my.
So even it's a woke generation that they're dealing with. So whether they try to bring, these things, no, the current generation.
Gen Zs are unstoppable. And it's not just in politics alone.
Everywhere.
They are really unstoppable.
So it's best if we can listen and try to address.
It's true.
And I'm looking at what they are demanding. And it's very doable.
It's doable.
Yeah, because it's all about governance.
Yeah.
Transparency, integrity,
yes.
Fairness.
It's high time.
Fairness. Unlike the older political class who are only interested with positions.
Yes.
These guys, the young people, they are not interested in the positions of CS, PS, or being in government. They only want fairness. They only want opportunities, conducive environment.
Accountability. Yeah.
Yes, we are paying taxes. Where is this tax going?
It going?
So why are we having the political class living in opulence at the expense of ordinary people, of teachers, of doctors, of farmers? Why? Those are pertinent questions, and I don't think it's too much.
It's not too much to ask. I mean, and we've seen the ripple effect happening even in other countries. I mean, look at what Kenya has inspired other countries to do. In Bangladesh, is it the Prime Minister who...
15 years. Sasa ameenda.
And that just shows you, they know what they're doing. Like, even as you do the wrong thing, you're aware. You're just hoping you never get caught. But now you've gotten caught. Wisdom demands that you actually rise up and say, I admit. I admit there's a problem, and this is what we are going to do. And that would calm the situation down. They can't expect that people will just keep quiet out of nowhere.
No. And in the same line covered on the Standard, they are saying, we are watching you. US wants Ruto on demos police brutality. There is a top U.S. official condemned the state's violent suppression of youth-led protests, challenging President William Ruto to match his commitment against rogue officers with action. Uzra Zea said Washington was vigilant about Kenya's developing affairs. The story you can read on page 4 inside the Standard. And we just hope that today we will not witness the brutality and the loss of life and property that we have. It's a huge number. And you see, that is what was recorded. We have had so many bodies now, if you remember, at City Mortuary. And the bodies they are being tagged as road accident victims. But then again, they have bullet wounds.
Makes no sense.
So many people still, after the June 25th demos, so many people are still missing. For me, Beatrice, the most, should I say, annoying and frustrating is that up to date, people are still being abducted. Yet you have a leadership that comes out to say that people are not being abducted, but people are being abducted. People have lost their loved ones.
The numbers are not lying.
They can't really say where their loved ones are. Can we stop this hypocrisy?
Oh, it makes no sense. And we will keep definitely praying, but we really hope. And even saying hope. I really do hope that, I mean, God has to just help us at this point and just instill something in the minds of our leaders. But let's continue. And I see page 6 here, intrigues in rejection of CS nominee. I see 19 is the number of cabinet secretary nominees approved by the House for appointed by the president. They will be sworn in this very morning. So a threat by the Orange Democratic Movement to decline President William Ruto's entire offer for cabinet secretary slots led to the approval of former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya by the National Assembly Committee on Appointments. The Nation can reveal, but Ms. Stella Langat, the gender CS nominee, became the only one of the 20 to be rejected after MPs yesterday voted to adopt the report of the committee. This is a story on page 6. Page 10 is covering no reprieve as state admits fuel levy hike wiped away price drop at the pump. So this is a story covered very well on page 10 about that hike as well. And maybe let's just look deeper into that. I see 5 shillings and 20 cents is the current diesel prices. Would have been cheaper by this much if the road maintenance levy had not been increased to 25 shillings per litre. And this is former CS Murkomen increased road maintenance levy from 18 shillings to 25 shillings through Gazette notice. And state admits road levy hike wiped away fuel price drop, which is really, really sad. I think that the other day they were actually supposed to protest. I don't know what happened with regarding to the same. But of course, I see motorists have also questioned the rationale behind the increment of the levy, stating that the Ministry of Transport has little to show for how it has deployed billions of shillings raised under levy. Still on the cries of where is this tax money going. This is a story on page 10. Page 2, Ruto and Raila political deal faces litmus test. Of course, we will continue to follow up on that, even as we are anticipating that today we will be having the Nane demonstrations. And page 4, State House Defense Kenya Kwanza's housing project. I see that Auditor General has raised issues with programs run by state. As of today, there are 531,943 Kenyans saving more than 2.255 billion under the Bomayango initiative. And this is the State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed reporting on the same. And page 5, teachers unions in rare unity as they issue TSC fresh strike threat. We did cover that yesterday, even letting the people know that the third term could be affected if this strike kicks off. Striking final term of the school year will derail preparations for national exams, which is really, really, really crucial. And then I see we demand that the TSC immediately remit the teachers' emoluments for July 2024, including basic salaries and also allowances. And that is from the NAT SecGen Collins Uyu. And moving on, let me go to the business bit of the Daily Nation, and I see here Chuda resident protest demolition of their houses. I see here most consumer relief as maize prices ease on harvesting. I see 55 is the amount in shillings that consumers are paying for a kilo of maize. Also, state works vandals face a 10 million shilling fine, jail term in new bill. That's a story on the business pull out. And on the DN2 today, we're having a look at the untold impact of losing a home in an eviction. We have had this happening so many times, and only God knows, the stress of being evicted, just all of a sudden, and these things are happening also. Overall, evictions in Kenya go as far as the mid-1910s when white settlers started evicting and displacing natives from their land, while land tenure in Kenya is as elusive in 2024 as it was in 1963 at independence. This is a story covered in the DN2. And on the international news, Harris-Walz campaign together for the first time. So we did cover this some time back, saying the running mate would be a male to even it out. Yes. I see Americans typically focus on the person at the top of the presidential ticket. So This is on the elections, U.S. elections. Trump and Vance are quickly to criticize the competition as too liberal. And going to the back page, I see WASU bring back Kiama or face strike. Union officials say the suspension of the Vice Chancellor was not transparent. This is a story on the back page. Page 35, Kipyegon Gudaf clash looms large in 1500 meter. Two rivals kept apart in today's semi-final, spoiling for a fight in Saturday's final. Kenya's Wanyonyi fastest in red-hot men's 800 hits. And page 34, the Paralympics, Kenyan-born stars chasing glory for adopted nations. Bahrain Yave leads the way with gold in steeplechase as Kenyan influence felt on track in Paris and soon on the road as well. And that's it for the Daily Nation.
Right. We can now check what's being reported in the Standard. Cabinet to hit road after rubber stamp. As expected, it was a smooth sail in Parliament for 19 cabinet nominees in spite of hundreds of memoranda sent to MPs on their conduct and pending court cases. John Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi even high-fived members when they walked in to bid farewell to the House. And they will, of course, be sworn into office this morning amid the protest ruckus. You can read that story on page 3. Nane civil servants have been put on notice. The government has warned public workers not to add fire to the demos by displaying opulence, as it cautioned them not to participate in the same. However, Gen Z youth say their march is still on. It's a story you can cover, that is covered on page number 4.
Yeah.
This August 8th, this is the date the Gen Z youth say they will stage demonstrations against bad governance. Country's steeplechase future lies in Small Faith. That is Faith Cherotich, also known to many as Small Faith, saved Kenya's blushes on what had appeared to be a disappointing outing for the athletics team by bagging bronze in the women's steeplechase finals inside the fully packed Stade de France on Tuesday night. Also, we can get to corruption, patriotism, and CBC take center stage in a music festival. Participants highlight issues affecting ordinary Kenyans. Students hopeful that the country will achieve progress. You can read that story on page number 2. Raila faces 3 contenders for AU top job. You remember he's eyeing the AUC position. So the AU Commission will elect its chairman in February next year. Kenya, Djibouti, Mauritius, and Madagascar have offered a candidate each. And so the African Union had set August 6th as the deadline for candidates vying for 8 senior AUC positions to submit their credentials, which has since lapsed. And Raila will now run against Mahmoud Ali Yusuf from Djibouti, Anil Kamasing Gayan of Mauritius, and Richard Randriamandrato, of Madagascar. And the 4 will be seeking to succeed outgoing chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat of Chad, who has served 2 terms of 4 years each, after reports indicated that Somalia and Seychelles pulled out their candidates. You can read that on page number 5. Whereabouts of British terror convict unclear as jail term ends. Jermaine Grant was to be extradited to UK after completing his 9-year jail term yesterday. Embassy says Grant still under Kenyan authorities, while prison sources said he had left committee. So Kenyan authorities can speak about the repatriation of Jermaine Grant. He's still detained in the country, UK High Commissioner spokesperson said yesterday. I also see tycoon to remain in cells 13 days over 7.6 billion oil fraud. This is a tycoon Yagnesh Devani, who has been charged in connection with a 7.6 billion shillings oil scandal. Will now spend 13 more days in cells. We can get to see on page 9, Maisha number data to be shared with 450 entities, High Court told. Civil organizations warned the state has not disclosed the data protection measures. Ministry says 1.2 million in waiting list due to orders stopping issuance of IDs. You can read that on page number 9. Court orders bus ticketing firm to change name and forfeit profits. Bar Pass Kenya Limited sued Bus Pass Kenya Limited over trademark, and the firm is seeking 10 million as damages in court. Read that on page 12. We can check also the world news. 5 hurdles facing Bangladesh's incoming caretaker government. The police have gone on strike until their security is assured. There are no details when the next elections will be held. All right, it's a story on page number 22 in the world news. The pullout real estate. Can Nairobi public transport rise to Berlin's efficiency? That is the question, and you can read on page 28.
Okay.
Shipping and logistics, why glitter of North Corridor as an artery of trade is fading. Read that also as well. Now, sports pages, why Kenya's steeplechase future lies in small faith. I also see Yego eager to end his career in style with another podium finish at Olympics. The Rio Olympics silver medalist has hinted at retiring after Paris Games. He threw his season best at the qualification round on Tuesday, and he is ready for the final. And LeBron's US look to silence Serbia once again for Olympic final berth. Wanyonyi hoping to bring back 800 meters gold. And crowning of saints as St. Joseph boys and girls lift titles. Musingu clash with Highway in football final. Read that on pages 36, 37 and 38. And state saves 1.3 million borrowers from loan defaulters listing. It's on the Business Daily. New individual negative records fell to new low of 933,551 in 2023. Treasury snubs De La Rue in new currency printing deal. Kuna nini pale? Get to read on the front page and on page 2 inside the Business Daily.
Okay, beautiful. It is 7:55, the perfect time for us to have a look at the video of the day.
Manolo.